Welcome, fellow explorers. My name is Christian Alexanderson, and this is Hemlocks to Hellbenders, a podcast highlighting Pennsylvania's parks, forests, and great outdoors. For a long time, there's been this mostly unspoken rule that quote-unquote real outdoor experiences have to be rugged. You've got to rough it, hike 10 miles in the rain, sleep on the ground, eat beans from a can, or else it somehow doesn't count. Luckily, that's changing. More and more people are discovering that you don't have to give up comfort to connect with the outdoors. Here in Pennsylvania, especially in state parks, that change has been evident. Instead of only offering tent sites, state parks have cottages, cabins, yurts, and other accommodations. Many offer amenities like stoves, refrigerators, microwaves, tables, and chairs. No longer are you forced to pack up everything you own for a weekend in the woods. You can book a comfortable accommodation and still be in nature. However, these upgraded accommodations still have rubbed people the wrong way. It isn't real camping. What does that even mean anyway? Real camping. Does it mean sleeping on the ground? Waking up with a sore back and condensation in the tent? Cold and miserable? No thanks. It's that sort of attitude that I despise in the outdoors. You're not a real hiker unless. You're not a real hunter unless. You're not really camping unless. It's such a pointless and divisive way of thinking. Thankfully, the Pennsylvania Department of Conservation and Natural Resources does not think that way. They are more considerate with getting people outdoors and meeting them where they are in their outdoor recreation journey as opposed to bending them to their will. That's why I was so excited when they announced in 2025 that they were partnering with the Timberline Glamping Company to bring glamping to 7 Pennsylvania state parks in 2026. The public would have the chance to reserve one of the 54 outfitted sites, no gear needed. Glamping would be available in Pymatuning, Hills Creek, Promised Land, Hickory Run, French Creek, Codorus, and Laurel Hill state parks. Timberline will provide the beds, heat, air conditioning, coffee maker, linens, pillows, and comfortable accommodations. All you have to bring is an open mind and a sense of adventure. These wonderful glamping spots are creating space for everyone to experience the magic of nature in their own way. By making the outdoors accessible to everyone, from people who don't own camping gear to those physically unable to sleep in a tent, glamping is opening doors, breaking down barriers, and reimagining what it means to get outside. Because nature belongs to all of us, whether you're sleeping under the stars or under a heated canopy. I'm excited to welcome 3 guests to the podcast. Nathan and Rebecca Self are the founders of the Timberline Glamping Company, and Caitlin Gunderson Thorpe is the manager of the French Creek State Park Complex. Nathan, Rebecca, Caitlin, thanks so much for joining the program.
Thanks so much for having us.
Can you tell us about Timberline Glamping? How'd you get started?
Yeah, so about 8 years ago, we decided we needed this kind of compromise for our family. We have 2 daughters, and they were very young at the time, and we had just moved to the South, to Georgia from the West Coast. And we wanted to take them camping and take them to enjoy the outdoors. But our family needed a compromise where maybe we were getting that traditional camping experience, but a little bit more comfortable sleeping arrangements. And we found that a lot of families and friends need that same compromise.
Timberline Glamping has supplied glamp sites to several states. What does it mean to now be in Pennsylvania state parks?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are in 4 states in the Southeast. And when we met the folks from Pennsylvania State Parks, we were really excited about the possibility. But we were excited about most possibilities when expanding into a new state. But it wasn't until we went up and spent a week going to all of the parks that they envisioned us coming into that we really fell in love. We were really surprised. We've been in a lot of parks in a lot of states, and I was just in Florida meeting with our Florida State Parks folks, and I told them, I was like, guys, Pennsylvania state parks are so much better. We love you guys, and we really do. We love our relationships with our other states, but Pennsylvania state parks, when we went on the tour to see everything, we started off at Laurel Hill, and we were like, wow, this park is beautiful. And then we went to Pymatuning, and we just kept going, and it just kept getting better and better and better and better. And so we're very excited.
I think it's not, obviously there's just a ton of natural beauty that is in Pennsylvania state parks and natural lands, but it was also just kind of the pride that the state park
Absolutely.
folks take in their parks and the people of Pennsylvania. So you can just really tell that everybody loves these parks, and that was huge for us.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, Rebecca, let me ask you too. How does it go from we want to make sure that our kids are introduced to the outdoors and are comfortable to let's start a company and let's franchise to different places?
Yeah. So when we started researching to find that compromise for our family, there really wasn't anything like that, especially in the Southeast and in Georgia. I had the idea of just, why don't we start this? Like, let's do this as kind of a fun little side business. So I wrote up a business plan, and we just started with 2 tents here at one of our local parks on Lake Lanier, just north of Atlanta, Georgia. And yeah, really just thought it would be a fun, creative side thing that we could do to help people kind of maybe take that first step of getting out, going camping. We're near Atlanta, and there's a lot of adults that still have never gone camping. And so we thought that would be a really cool thing to introduce. And it kind of took off overnight. So we grew pretty quickly right away. We saw the demand there of just everybody wanted to try this. And so we grew within the state of Georgia. And then it was during COVID, well, a little bit after COVID, that we decided, hey, we want to take this into other states too. Like, I think other parks and other people need to experience this as well.
Yeah, and really, that's the idea of franchising. It came out of just Rebecca and I having deep conversations about how we see timberline glamping growing in the future, and we back in 2020, we knew that we needed to grow. Like, the demand was there. We needed to grow, but we were talking about how should we grow? We can grow the traditional way and make a whole lot of money, but that wasn't our focus. Like, we've always been mission minded, like focused of like, hey, what can we do to help other people and improve their lives? And what this company has done for our own lives has completely changed our lives. And we were like, this would be so cool is if we were able to help other families do what we've done. And that's where the franchising aspect of this whole thing came about. Because we have been there, and we've been on all the boards, and we've served in all the things. We absolutely hate public speaking. But we get invited to be on these panels at these glamping shows and conferences and things like that. And but we are trying to mentor and coach other people doing what we've done. We were like, well, what if we grew our company that way? Because back in 2020, we were given a new park. The city, the city of Augusta reached out to Augusta, Georgia, reached out to us and said, hey, we want you guys to bring this here. And we said, great. Can I have master's tickets? And they said yes. And I was like, well, that was easy. But we came there, and we noticed that there's a big difference of us being able to pour into a location that's local to us, as opposed to pouring into a location that's a little bit further away, right? And so that's where we said, hey, if we find local owner operators that we can help mentor and train and teach up and raise up, to have that same love and just pride of that park, like we've done at our own local park.
Yeah.
It'd be really cool. So
Well, and a lot of glamping companies that are out there, because there are other glamping companies in the US, and they kind of more take the private land, kind of a resort approach, which is great. A lot of people love that. But we knew early on that we wanted to be highlighting a lot of these local and state parks, and getting more people in, right? And kind of being able to show them that everybody can enjoy the outdoors, and you don't have to own all your own camping gear. So we definitely knew that we wanted to highlight the local parks, and having local people who already know those parks and enjoy those parks is just, it's a natural cheerleader, and we love that.
How does the glamping franchise partnership work with DCNR?
yeah. Timberline Glamping, we have our relationship with DCNR, and until we find the perfect local person, Timberline Glamping will run it from afar, right? But our goal is to find someone local who is going to take that ownership with our guidance and our help and things like that. But the contract between DCNR and Timberline will always be there. That will always stay. And then once we find a local owner operator, that's when we'll do like a sublease on that contract.
Yeah, so there'll be a manager essentially at each of the parks, and then there's also a team of, we call them tent hospitality folks. So they are part-time people that get the tents all pretty and ready for the next guest checking in.
Yeah, our goal, like when working with state parks, because you guys probably already know this, but they're the state parks, they don't have the flexibility to take on all the different things that need to happen. And that's where a company like ours can come in and just be an asset to the park. And so we love to take on those challenges and do whatever we can to help the park staff out. Our goal really is to be like, we always talk about this, is like being no burden to the park. We want the park staff to look at us as partners, and if there's something that they need that maybe we can help out with, there's that comfortability there that they're like, hey, if there's any way that you guys could look at taking this portion over, it would really help our staff. This just happened last week with the state of Florida. They said, hey, would it be possible if you're already operating in this park and you're doing great, would it be possible if you took on more of a role on managing the entire campground deal? That way our rangers can focus on doing what they do best, right? And so we want to be that resource for state parks.
Can you describe the new glamping setups and what visitors will see when they book a site?
So we have beautiful canvas safari style tents. So when they show up on the outside, they'll have some camping chairs already waiting for them. They'll have some hammocks and some string lights, which help at night. And then when they go inside, we do have mini split units. So they will provide air conditioning and heat depending on what season you're staying in. And so when you usually walk in, you'll feel that climate control right away, which is really nice. We also have hotel style beds and bedding, which are so comfortable that when most people stay, they actually usually email or call and say, how can I buy this bed or this bedding to have at my own house? Which we have them at our house too, because it is really that comfortable. And then there's also a Keurig coffee maker, a mini fridge, lamps, rugs, decor to make it feel really, really comfortable.
Yeah, we basically wanted to take a hotel room, pick it up, and put it inside of a canvas tent and put it in something that's just as immaculate and beautiful that you could imagine.
And ceiling fans. I miss ceiling fans.
You did. Yeah.
I love a ceiling fan. Yeah, that's awesome.
That helps.
Yeah. But what's really fun about our setups is everything's done with intention. Like, could we put in a million other things to make it way prettier? Yes, we could, but everything that we put in there, there's thought behind it, because we need these. It can't be in there and last for 1 month, right? And the other thing is we build these accommodations with to be zero footprint left behind. So although we hope that we are in the parks for quite some time, if for whatever reason we had to either pick up and move to a different area of the park, or if we had to pick up and move to a different park, we build these accommodations so that we can do just that. And there will be zero footprint left behind. We want to leave things better than what we found it. And that's what we've done. Like with one of our states, we have a deal where we go in and we're in there for, I think it's like 3 years, at one site, or like at the 6 sites that we occupy. But then after that 3 years is up, we pick everything up and we move it to another side of the park. And this way, that park is like, because when we go in, we're laying rock a lot of time and putting like making that site prettier. And so what they've done is we pick things up and move it over, and so they're getting their sites revamped. And so yeah.
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 I think one of my favorite things that people show up to is, because sometimes we get compared to staying in a cabin or a yurt, which it is very different. It is more of like getting that traditional tent camping experience, because you do still hear all the sounds when you're in, like falling asleep. You can hear all the sounds outside. You can see some of the silhouettes of the trees on the canvas, which is really cool. So that's one of my favorite things.
Yeah.
Is there a variety of accommodations in terms of, is every glamp site the same, or are there more or less beds? Are there smaller or bigger ones? How does it work here in Pennsylvania now?
Yeah, so we can customize the size of the tent depending on the size of the site. So since we're going into an existing campsite, sometimes they are a little more narrow or, bigger. So we can kind of fluctuate the size of the tent, which is nice because our tents are all manufactured here in the US. So we can customize those. And then we also have two different kind of setups for our accommodations as far as beds go and how many guests can come and stay. So we have a double safari tent is what we call it. And so that has 2 queen beds, so it can sleep up to 4 guests. And then we have a deluxe, which has 1 king bed and 2 sets of bunk beds. So that can sleep up to 6 guests. But other than that, we do try to keep everything pretty standard as far as the amenities that they arrive to. That way, if 2 families are going glamping together side by side, they can expect the same things when they show up. As well as if they were going to go check out one of our locations in another state, they would know kind of what they need to bring versus what they're going to show up to.
Mm-hmm. And I'm guessing like what DCN already has with cabins and cottages, it's probably walking distance to a bathroom and shower house and things like that, right?
That's correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
Since we do get a lot of first-time campers, that is definitely a requirement, is to be walking distance to a bathroom for sure.
Yeah, and we do have accommodations in our network. We do have accommodations that do have ensuite bathrooms, and we're not ruling it out with Pennsylvania. We're just looking at because seasonality. You guys have this crazy thing. I think it's called snow that we don't get in a lot of places, and so we're looking at different ways that we can still bring that offering. It's not going to be this year, but it's something that we are thinking about, and we are doing some research and trying to figure out, okay, how can we make this work for DCNR in Pennsylvania? So
how do you think glamp sites differ from traditional campsites in terms of comfort, amenities, and visitor experience? Do you think it's just completely different? Do you think it's a little bit better? How do you kind of look at it?
I like to say, so I feel like outside you're getting that same camping experience, which is what we want, right? Like we want people to have those campfires and their s'mores time and hiking and all of that. So I think that experience is the same, and that's what we want, but it's the setup and it's the comfort of sleeping that is, I think, completely different for sure. Because even, sometimes you go to a cabin and you do need to bring your own linens, and it's just, it's still a lot to pack and unload. And so our hope is that aside from people's, clothes and food, they can just show up and start enjoying right away and kind of maximize their weekend away or their couple days away. And then wake up really rested because they've had a really good night's sleep.
And now, let's hear from our sponsors. Join the Keystone Trails Association's trail care team to show some love to the trails you love. KTA organizes hands-on stewardship events and training workshops to maintain and expand hiking trails in Pennsylvania. Check out KTA's schedule of events online at kta-hike.org. Are you looking for your next adventure? Unlock some of the best landscapes in Pennsylvania with incredibly detailed, highly curated, waterproof trail maps from the folks at Purple Lizard. They create extraordinary maps of Pennsylvania state forests for people who love to explore the outdoors. Find them at your local outfitters, bike shops, and bookstores, or visit purplelizard.com, where your next adventure begins. Ready for more time outdoors? Check out Think Outside with the Pennsylvania Parks and Forest Foundation, a new podcast from the foundation. You'll hear stories, tips, and ideas to make the most of Pennsylvania's parks and forests. Whether it's a quick hike or a weekend adventure, Think Outside with the Pennsylvania Parks and Forest Foundation will inspire your next outing. Find it wherever you listen to podcasts. Looking for a way to add some local Pennsylvania flair to your space? Check out Sister Sunflowers. They create unique stickers inspired by small local spaces that make your community shine. From quirky caves to hidden local gems, their stickers bring your favorite places to life. Perfect for your laptop, water bottle, or anywhere that needs a little hometown love. For both locals and visitors, there's stickers, magnets, prints, and more celebrating Pennsylvania's most iconic parks and forests. And for more avid explorers, there's even a hand-drawn poster to keep track of the Pennsylvania state parks and forests that you've been to. Use code HELLBENDER15 at checkout to get 15% off your first order. Support local, inspire adventure, and decorate with meaning. Only at Sister Sunflowers. Shop now and celebrate the places that make your town special. All right, back to the show. What do you hope people will experience when they go glamping? Like, what do you hope people come away with from it?
Yeah, that's for us. We value family time in our own lives, and that's kind of what we're trying to give people, giving people a chance to reconnect with both nature and your family. Some of the biggest wins we've ever gotten are that we leave a little note, like a guest book. And one of the best ones that we ever got was a mom thanking us. She said, "I haven't had a real conversation with my 14-year-old daughter in over a year. And we came glamping, just the two of us, and we sat around the campfire and we actually talked for the first time in a long time. And if it wasn't for you guys, I don't think we would have ever done that." And that's what we want. We want families and friends just out, just relax, spend time in nature, reconnect with each other, reconnect with nature. We get so caught up in to use a common the rat race, and we forget we forget that going back to the basics can just really re-energize a family. It can re-energize just a working professional that just needs to stop for a minute. And that's the biggest key. We don't put TVs in our sites. We don't even put internet in our, we're not that company. And there are companies that do that, and that's great. They're filling a need that some people have. We don't feel like that's who we want to really go after. We want to find people who just really need to reconnect.
And I think there's a large demographic of people that stay with us that they're walking away after they stay with that confidence, right? Like they maybe went into it like, I can never be an outdoorsy person, or, I can't do that. But when we do tell people about what we do, it's funny how many people will be like, oh, well, I could maybe do that. And then they try it and they walk away with the confidence to maybe either come back and stay with us or maybe try something else in the outdoors, which is what we want.
Rebecca, I think you bring up a really good point, because when you think about who's the anticipated demographic for the campsites, are you targeting people who don't own camping gear or are unfamiliar with overnighting outdoors, or is it just anybody that wants to come and check this out?
Yeah, it's funny because I think in the beginning we were really just targeting families. Like that was, we were like, hey, families need help. Like they need help getting outside. But it really has turned into so many other people that we see enjoying it from a huge, because we are near a lot of larger cities, and that's just leans to people, who've never been at camping or don't have the gear. So we love that we get to host so many people and get, they have their first time camping. But then there's also the elderly crowd who they've spent their whole lives camping maybe, and maybe they've, they are tent campers who slept on the ground, but now they're at a phase where, they physically can't set up the tent or sleep on the ground, but they still want that experience and those memories. So that has been a really, I think, surprising, but one of the most rewarding segments that we've seen come enjoy the tents, which I really love.
Yeah.
Yeah, as somebody who just turned 40, I appreciate not sleeping on the ground anymore. That's just not a possibility. I mean, it's just not. Yeah. And it's also, I think about when it comes to when the announcement was made about the glamping sites coming to DCNR, the first person I thought of was my wife, because we are at different levels of how we like to enjoy the outdoors. And it's I don't like the idea of oh, well, you're not a real outdoors person unless you're sleeping on the ground or you're in a hammock or you're miserable because it's raining. It's that will ruin the outdoors for her. So it's making sure that she's comfortable, that she gets good night's sleep. So staying in a cottage, staying in a cabin, staying in a yurt or in this sense a glamp site is just a really good opportunity to find people where they are, as opposed to trying to bend them to your will of like, well, no, real people, real outdoors
Yeah.
people do it this way. I
Yeah.
think that's a good way of thinking about it in terms of just like, some people are like, well, why do we need glamp sites? It's like, well, why do we need anything? Just let people enjoy stuff. Like, what does it
Yeah.
matter?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's a good point. And we actually have had a lot of like real outdoorsy people, who are like,
Yeah.
I mean, ex-military, and they're like coming with their wives booked it, and they're kind of grumbling, and they're like, why am I doing this? But then we've been at some of our parks, and they'll stop us and be like, okay, that was amazing. I'm never doing anything else. So
Yeah.
it's kind of fun to watch people, I guess, get converted on that level.
Yeah, I used to say, I used to tell everybody like my ideal clientele is retired rednecks. That term works down in the South a little bit better probably, but retired rednecks, someone who grew up, it could be husband or wife side, right? Someone who grew up doing real camping, right? And that was great, and they loved it and they miss it. But they went to school, they got a job out of school, they got married, and maybe their partner does not want to be involved in that. And that was my ideal customer because this allows that person, that retired redneck, to bring their partner and their family and introduce them to something that they grew up and something that they loved. And it bridges that gap between the two. And we love that we get to have that for people because you never know. Like, what if glamping wasn't there? What if the next what if the next Kate Gunderson never got to go camping? You know what I'm saying? Like, who knows what we're introducing whenever you take a child camping? You never know, right? And it would be great.
Yeah,
You
and
know,
we do have, I mean, at most of our locations, because they are local parks to a lot of people, we have, families and groups of families that come back every year, and it's like their yearly tradition to come, which I think is really cool. Because yeah, that's kind of introducing a whole new kind of way of life for some people.
yeah, we have one lady that comes to mind. She like this next year will be she'll bridge into that 25th stay with us. Like we've only been open since 2018 and she's already stayed over 20 times.
Wow.
And they just keep coming back. They just keep coming back. And a lot of times, I mean, she's married and she takes the kids and the husband is at work and he'll come and visit during the day, but she gets to go do this with her kids and they just have the best time and so
Kate, what do you think about the new glamp sites at French Creek State Park?
For me, it's exciting. We have already so many different kind of accommodations anyway that like we have 200 campsites. So to take away 10 of them is not going to make much difference for us for campsites. And then we've got cabins, cottages, yurts. So we already offer so many different kind of amenities anyway that this is just another opportunity. And then just personally, like what you guys are talking about with kids, like I have a 4-year-old that we're trying to get him into camping and he likes it, but it's a lot to like pack sleeping bags and the tent and like get there before dark to set up the tent and like we sleep on an air mattress, so we have to have a site that's close to the car so we can blow up the air mattress like in the tent, and this will just be easier and like we won't have to do it all the time, but like just to have options if we want to go somewhere far away and we don't want to bring a tent and 3 sleeping bags and all that stuff. It's just like more options are better.
How have the glamping setups been received by those that camp at French Creek? What have you been hearing, kind of boots on the ground?
A lot of the campers are excited. We had the press event here, so we had a setup here, just one tent with the platform and everything, and people could come and look in. And a lot of the campers that were already here, like people that were in tents and RVs, were excited and wanted to look in and said it looked cool. And we've had a lot of people book already, so we know that there's like sites booked, and I'm sure the summer will be full. So seems like it's being received well. There's always comments online, but that doesn't mean that there won't be people that want to come. And like the comments are saying about that it's not real camping, but this discussion we've been having is like maybe some people don't want real camping just yet, or they don't have the stuff for real camping, but they want to be outside or they want to try it. So it's good. I think it's going to go well.
Negative comments online? I've never seen such a thing.
New,
No.
Yeah.
new thing for us.
Yeah. Kate, how long will the glamping season be at French Creek?
So for us, they're gonna follow whatever loop they're in. So we've got 6 in one loop and then 4 in another loop. So B loop, which is the 4 of them, they'll close at the end of October. And then the 6 of them that are in A loop are going to be open till like early January.
What has made glamping a more enticing alternative for people who may not be interested in traditional camping? Do you guys think it's just that comfort level, that ability of, like you said, not having to like pack up the Subaru with a ton of stuff and just being able to go out and have fun?
Yeah, it's just different options. So some people that already have the gear, but they don't want to have to bring it, or they want to be able to sleep on a bed. There might be people that have never camped before, but like to be outside that want to try camping. And this is an option to like just sleep outside and feel how comfortable you can be. Um, there might be people that want like the coffee and all that stuff, and they don't want to pack all that stuff up. So I think it's just, yeah, it's an alternative for people who have other choices.
From a DCNR perspective, how do you balance bringing in a luxury outdoors experience while staying true to the mission of conservation, low impact recreation, and protecting nature?
So these campsites, like these glamping sites, are not going to be built on anything that's not already being used. So they're in campsites that are already campsites now that are getting used by tents, RVs, like they're getting the impact already. So we're not adding anything to the impact in the campground or in the park. They're already getting used. So there's not anything extra. And then it's gonna probably help because like they'll be in the same spot on top of a platform. So there won't be like more, I guess, like trees cut down or anything like that. It's already gonna be like contained and it'll be on top of a platform, so it won't be any use to the soil. It's gonna be like, I think, a little better in that sense. Like there won't be RVs parked all over the grass or anything in different spots. And then we do have other campsites too. So this is a luxury experience, but then if you don't want that, we have rustic campsites, we have electric campsites, we have full hookup sites. So it's just giving you another option, like we've been saying.
Yeah, calm down, online comments. Glamping's
Yeah.
not taking over every single site. You're still going to be able to sleep on sleep on the ground and be miserable and
If
have
you
a bad
want,
back in the
yeah.
morning. You're fine.
Exactly. It's like less than 3% of what we offer here, the glamping site. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's just, and that's exactly what we've kind of been talking about. It's just like, okay, well then 3% of what you have overall. It's like, well then that could be 3% more people who want to go outdoors for the first time, and then might want to support outdoor recreation and conservation and environmentalism. So it's just like I tend to think that anyone who gets involved in outdoor recreation can't help but want to help with conservation. And if that means going glamping and being like, oh yeah, this looks really cool on Instagram, I want to check it out, and then they do it, and then all of a sudden they're just like, oh yeah, I'm going to start volunteering in my local park or doing this and that. Why not?
Yeah. It might be 3% more people that come to the park and then go to a program with the educators, like go on a paddle, get interested in kayaking, maybe do a park cleanup or do a trail crew like day with us. And it's just like getting more people involved in the park.
Rebecca and Nate, is there something first time glampers should know when booking a glamp site? Like, is there something they should know in terms of like what to expect and the amenities that are going to be provided that they may not expect?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So, so we actually have a whole portion dedicated on our website to just that, because with first time glampers, they're probably first time campers. And so we have a whole list of, hey, this is what you should bring, that this is what we recommend that you bring, and this is what it's already going to be there. And so we kind of nail it. Like,
Yeah, we listed out pretty specifically just so there's no question marks, because we are starting at square one. Like, okay, if you do want to have a campfire, you need X, Y, and Z.
Oh, great. Okay.
Like that, yes, the fire ring is there. And in some of our parks, you can add on a firewood bundle, or, you can get that at the park, but sometimes you do have to bring that. So there, we try to spell that out at each location.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that we constantly remind first time glampers is it is still camping. Glamping is still camping. It's just a little bit more comfortable. So, will you see animals? Yes, you will. And I think that's a good thing. And so we try to get all the information to our guests before they show up, because that way there's no big surprises. Like, and it makes it more of a, okay, well, we are going to have this elevated camping experience, but we still will have to build a fire, right? There's not going to be someone who rolls around at 6 o'clock who's like, okay, I'm here to light your fire. That's not going to happen. And there is no easy button to turn on the fire. Like we actually had that question one time. Bless his heart. That's a saying in the South that, oh boy. But he called up and he was like, I can't find the button to start the fire pit. And I was like, well, you need to,
Yeah, you're going to be searching for a while if you're looking for a button.
Yeah. And so, but we do try to provide all that information ahead of time.
And then we also have add-ons that people can, if they don't want to bring their own s'mores stuff or things like that, they can add that on for an additional cost, and then that will be waiting for them also at their site. So we do try to make it as easy as possible, but there are some people who just, want to bring their own coffee or their own.
And that's completely fine. We say we offer it in case you don't have it.
Yeah.
If you have it, by all means, please bring it. That's going to be great. And so yeah, we just want to make it easier for you.
From DCNR's point of view too, if you're a new glamper, that you're probably a new camper, so just remember then you have to follow all the rules of the campground that you're staying in too. So you might not be in a pet-friendly loop, which means you couldn't bring pets to the glamp site. No Pennsylvania state parks allow alcohol, so you can't drink in the glamping tents. And then there's quiet hours. I think they're mostly at 9, but some campgrounds might be different. So you just have to check the rules of the campground that you're into for the park that you're in.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and we list out, to make it easier for our glampers, we list out every single one of each park's specific rules.
And timberline rules.
And timberline rules. Yep.
On top of that.
And so we list all that stuff out in multiple places. Like before you book, you're getting a chance to read it over. And even after you book, it's sent to you. And then a couple of days before your actual reservation, it's sent to you again. And so we try to make sure, to give people the information.
Yep.
For someone who might be hesitant about glamping because they prefer rugged camping, what would you say to bridge that gap and encourage them to give it a try?
Yeah, I would say I would ask them what they love about rugged camping usually. And most of the time they answer with the stuff that they're still getting when they're glamping. So those outdoor experiences that they're getting during the day, or maybe those connection points with family and friends that they're still getting all of that. They just have a little bit more luxury and comfort inside their accommodation, which I feel like makes everybody happier. So I think definitely you're keeping all the good parts.
How
can people book a glamp site at one of the state parks here in Pennsylvania?
So at our website, timberlineglamping.com, you would just go to the Pennsylvania section under the locations tab, and you just choose which location you want to book, and you book directly through us, through Timberline Glamping. So that way, if there's any kind of changes you need to make to your reservation or anything like that, we're not putting that burden on the park staff. So it all goes through Timberline Glamping just so we can ease that burden.
Yep. And we have our phone number and email on there as well. And we've already gotten tons of phone calls and emails with questions about different locations and just what the experience is. So our team's happy to answer all those questions as well. And then we do have on each park location page on our website, we have a map that shows where all of the glamp sites are in the park as far as in relation to other things in the park, and a lot of frequently asked questions on there as well.
In terms of finding these sites, I know DCNR does a really good job in terms of labeling and signs and everything. Does that mean you guys have your own signs in the park, or is it still DCNR signs pointing to these new glamp sites?
The DCNR signs will be pointing to whichever loop that we're going to be in. You will see a little bit different sign whenever you get there. That way, there's no confusion. It'll be a welcome to French Creek State Park site.
Site number 15, and then it does say Timberline Glamping on it, just so everybody knows that they're at the right spot.
Well, we're talking in November 2025. Is there even a chance I can find a glamp site that's not booked already for 2026?
There are a couple. No, there's still some availability. Especially at French Creek. I think French Creek is the best performing early on. park that we have. And so we just had a guest reach out and they're like, hey, there's something wrong with the website. It's not showing any availability for these dates. And we were like,
in June,
there's nothing wrong with the website, unfortunately.
Yeah, there are definitely certain weekends that are booked out at some of the locations. But usually folks, when they call in, we can help them find something that will work for them for 2026.
Yeah. And with so many parks within DCNR, within Pennsylvania, there's still a good opportunity, a good chance that you'll still be able to find the particular weekend that you're looking for. It may not be at the same park that you're looking for, but there are options out there.
And what's nice too is that, if they specifically need to be in French Creek State Park on this weekend in June and we're fully booked, we can point to some of those other accommodations that Kate was talking about as an option. So that's kind of nice because we can shine a light on some of those as well.
Yep.
Well, I want to thank you all for talking to me today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah,
absolutely. It was great meeting you.
I want to thank my guests Nathan and Rebecca Self and Caitlin Gunderson Thorpe for joining the podcast. Can you believe it? That was season 3 of the podcast. What a great season with so many awesome guests. But before we end this episode, I have some people I'd like to thank. Most importantly, I want to thank my incredible wife, Abby. She's the first person I go to bounce ideas off of, try out podcast titles, and figure out the best way to tell stories of these outdoor spaces. Thanks so much for your love, patience, and support. You're the best. I want to thank my mom and dad for their continued encouragement and support. Thank you to Sean Connolly for his mentorship and for inspiring me to start this podcast. Thank you to Wes Robinson with the Pennsylvania Department of Conservation and Natural Resources for his continued support and work to book great guests. I can't thank our 2025 sponsors enough for their support. Thanks to Marcy with the Pennsylvania Parks and Forest Foundation, Brooke with the Keystone Trails Association, Mike and Justine at Purple Lizard Maps, and Amy at Sisters Sunflowers. If this podcast resonates with you, we'd love for you to support the organizations and businesses featured here. They're doing incredible work to promote and preserve our public lands. Consider becoming a member, making a donation, or picking up a product that supports their mission. Thank you to my family and friends for listening and supporting the podcast. Thank you to Joanne Menzer for supporting this podcast with her monthly subscription. You can do the same by clicking support this show in the podcast description. Thank you to all of our guests who have come on the podcast and shared their passion for the outdoors with us. Thank you to everyone that purchased merch this past year at hemlockstohellbenders.com. And finally, thank you, truly, to you. I'm constantly humbled by the support and kindness that comes from this community. Your messages, your stories, your reviews, and the way you share the podcast with friends and loved ones means more than I can say. Knowing that these conversations resonate with you, that they inspire you to look a little bit closer at the world around you, is what keeps this going. I couldn't, and honestly wouldn't, make Hemlocks to Hellbenders without you. In a time where there's so much vitriol in the world, this growing community of listeners proves that kindness, curiosity, and genuine connection still matter. You remind me every week that thoughtful conversation can make a difference, that stories, ideas, and a willingness to listen can bring people together across every kind of divide. So, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for being here, for showing up, and for sharing this space with me. We kick off our 4th season in January 2026. I hope you'll join us again. This has been Hemlocks to Hellbenders. I'll see you out there. Hosting, production, and editing by Christian Alexanderson. Music by John Sauer. Graphics by Matt Davis.